Hello and welcome to the Bookshelf Odyssey. My name is Art, and today we have a very special celebration. I am celebrating 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel, and actually, since I've crossed that mark, I think it was last week, I've already gained about 8 more. So I'm really happy to see that. Thank you for everyone who's joined recently. It means the world to me that you all want to follow along and hear what I say and engage in conversation with me about some of my favorite books and some of yours. So if you're new to the channel, I like to talk about mystery, science fiction, and classics primarily, especially Victorian classics. And I look forward to continuing to do that in the days ahead. A couple of quick housekeeping items, I guess. I do have plans to continue talking about Fahrenheit 451. I had to take a little pause on that because one, I was on vacation, and then when I got back, we had some house repair work that needed to be done, and it was very noisy outside, and I just couldn't find any quiet space to record. I guess one of the downsides of being an independent YouTuber is I don't have a dedicated space to recording that's quiet and soundproof and all that. So you got to do what you can do and make time for what you have. So I am planning to get the next 2 parts out soon. They might be combined into one and we'll finish up that story. But I'm really looking forward to talking about it more with you. So thank you for those who are reading along with me. Just keep at it. And then same with the Ray Bradbury Short Story Club. We'll be looking at The Lake, I believe it is. And it will be probably won't be now till the end of September. But I do have plans to talk about that story and then more in Ray Bradbury's incredible work. I am keeping myself well caffeinated. Today I'm drinking out of my, I like my coffee on the dark side coffee mug. I don't know where I got this cup from. I think it was a gift from someone. I can't remember even if it was a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. It might have been a birthday gift for my kids. I've been watching the new Ahsoka series on Disney Plus, and I've really enjoyed that. I thought I would enjoy some coffee today from Darth Vader. All right. Well, to celebrate, I decided I would do a Q&A, and I got about 5 questions that came in. And I think that's good. You got 5 questions for 500 subscribers. All right, I have the first question is from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. And she asks, what is my favorite Ray Bradbury short story, or do I have a favorite collection and complete work? Well, my favorite complete work collection, whatever you call it, from Ray Bradbury is the Martian Chronicles. And this is a more modern published version. So some of the things that they change in this one from the original are the dates used, and also a couple of stories are switched out as well. So if you want to get a copy of the Martian Chronicles as it first appeared, then you'll want an older copy. I think the story itself begins in like 1998 or something. And when Bradbury first wrote that, it was the future, but of course now it's our past and all that. So they've tried to update that a little bit. And looks like this book begins then in January 2030. So I don't know, here we're not too far off from 2030. I don't know what's going to happen when we get there. But the reason I got this particular edition is because it came autographed, and I got it off of eBay. It came with a certificate of authenticity. And, you know, I know the internet, it could still be a fake. From what I have seen online, it looks very similar to his handwriting, and it wasn't really a ton of money. So I just decided, you know what, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's real, and that's good enough for me. I mean, and it wasn't much at all. It was only like $20 or $30. I got a really good deal on it. And then I got it like right before he passed away. It must have been about a year or two before that. And I knew I just wanted some kind of memorabilia of his, never having a chance to meet him myself. So I got that, and I found that, and it was a good price. And that's my favorite Ray Bradbury story. So what it is, Bradbury took a bunch of his Martian stories and realized that a lot of them could tell an overall tale of the colonization of Mars. So he kind of combines them together into a novel and then stitches them together with these bridge chapters. So it reads like a chronological telling of the colonization of Mars through different points of view. And it's some really, really fascinating stories in there. As far as my favorite short story of his goes, that's a hard one. That is a really hard one because it depends on what I'm in the mood for. If I want something kind of creepy and spooky, he's got a ton that are so good. Any of his horror short stories are great. A Sound of Thunder. Okay, yeah, it'd probably be A Sound of Thunder might be my favorite. And I got a chance to do a video with Josh from the Sci-Fi Bookery. I'll remember to link that in the notes below. And I think we spent an hour talking about that story. It's fantastic. And then Alice asks another question, and she said, if you could only keep 5 of your books, which 5 and why? And that is an evil, evil question. So I know right away I would keep A Christmas Carol. That's very likely my absolute most favorite story book I've ever read. And I read it every year at Christmas time. And I think 1 or 2 years I missed reading it, and it really just did not feel like like the Christmas season. But I love that story. I love Scrooge's journey that he takes. I love the atmosphere, the power of the words that Dickens writes. It's just a marvelous, near perfect novel. I'd want that one. I would definitely take the Martian Chronicles with me. Again, that is a story that had a profound impact on my life. A story that moved me very deeply, especially the ending. I was a teenager when I read it, and I pretty much wept over just the power and beauty of the ending of that story. Let's see. Then I would take probably another Dickens. I would take A Tale of Two Cities, which is one of my favorite novels of his. It's beautifully written. It's got all the things I like in it. There's action. There's great characters. There's heartbreak and romance and all of it, tragedy and joy and humor. It's just got it all, and I love that story. I'm really trying not to pick all Dickens books. This is a terrible question. For my 4th book, I would probably take one of Louise Penny's novels, but don't ask me which one, because that's a near impossible task. They're all so good. I might just pick one I hadn't read yet, just to give me something new to read. And then I'm going to cheat here, because the 5th book I would pick would be Bradbury Stories, 100 of his most celebrated tales. So I could actually take this one, and then I have another one from Everyman's Library that also has 100 or more tales in it, and many of them are different from what's in here. But yeah, I would just take a big omnibus of Bradbury short stories, and this would keep me company for many, many a day. But yeah, that's kind of oh man, because then scratch Louise Penny. The other book I would take is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy, all 5 books. I've got a copy up there on the top of my shelf that has all 5 books in one volume. So I would just take that and be kind of cheating. So 2 of my picks I cheated on. I hope that's okay, and the BookTube police aren't going to come and haul me away. Okay. I would say those 3 authors, Dickens, Bradbury, and Douglas Adams, had some of the most profound impact on my reading, my development, my views of life, if you will. So that explains why I am the way I am today, I guess. My second question was given by Daryl from Daryl Friesen 2259 is his YouTube handle, and he asked me to pick my favorite books and explain what are my favorite books that are not Victorian and not by Ray Bradbury. So Daryl, you jerk. That's really hard. And I spent some time thinking about this and I really enjoyed actually thinking about this question. He did ask if he needed to ask me something easier, but I kind of enjoyed thinking through this. So I've got two I want to share with you, one old and one potentially a new one. As I just mentioned, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Where are you? Here's my copy. I've read it so many times. You can see the spine is just creased. This is British humor at its finest. It tells a story of Arthur Dent, who is the last surviving human from planet Earth. Earth gets destroyed uh, by a space constructor fleet to create a new super bypass through the solar system. And that's not a spoiler. It all happens within the first couple of chapters. He's joined with his friend Fort Prefect, who is the book says his name is Fort Prefect because he thought that the automobile was the dominant species of the planet. But anyway, I first read it again as a teenager, and it gave me so much laughter, so much joyous irreverence as I was growing up, and it was just a delight to read. And I enjoyed, on some level, all five books that he wrote. There was a sixth book written by a different author, and I enjoyed it. But it obviously just wasn't the same. And this is one of those books that if I wanted to read you some of my favorite quotes, I would just be reading the whole book because it's just so funny. Which leads me to another book that I think might actually become one of my all-time favorite books. And it's one I read just last year, I believe. And it's called The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. And this tells the story of an elderly man who lost his wife. And as he's going through the grieving process, he finds a list of books in one of her library books that she had written out or that she had in the book. And he realized that that was her reading list. And so he decides he's going to go and read the books that she had been reading right before her passing as a way to try to connect with her. And so in the process, as he goes to the library, a place he's never really been before, he meets a young lady there, and they begin to create this friendship and this bond over books and over reading that help them navigate through some very difficult times in their life. And the story is so beautifully written. The characters are so powerful and interesting and complex, and you feel the sense of his loss, but you also experience the joy and the hope and the help that reading brings. It's a fantastic story, and I really hope that the author writes more. I think I've seen that this is the only book she's written so far, but I love this book. It was one of the best books I read last year, and the more I think about it, the more it just seems to kind of elevate itself up as being a very good read. So I want to try to reread it here at some point down the road. For me, that's what makes a book become one of my favorites, is the ability to can it withstand rereading? Does it impact me more even on the second time, or does it continue to build on the love I have for it? And the books I've mentioned have done that. There are others that I really enjoyed reading the first time, but then revisiting them, I kind of lost something. And if I tried a third time, it just, this isn't as enjoyable as I thought it was. And so for whatever reason, it was really enjoyable at that one particular moment in time in my life. But the classic stories, the ones that really endure for me, are the ones I can read time and time again. And it's like coming back to an old friend. There's just something joyous about it. So Daryl, thank you very much for that question. It was a toughie, but I really enjoyed thinking through that one. A fourth question is from Stephanie Richards, and she has a YouTube channel, and I'll link her down below. She asked if I could have dinner with any three Dickens characters, who would they be and why? Well, you guys don't make this easy, do you? I was tempted to say maybe Sidney Carton from A Tale of Two Cities, but that might be like having dinner with Nearly Headless Nick. Okay, sorry. Too soon? Is that too soon? I don't know. Anyway, if you know, you know. Okay. seriously, the three characters I think I would like to have dinner with from a Dickens novel would be Ebenezer Scrooge. Um, at the end of the story, I think he would be a blast to sit down with and enjoy a Christmas dinner, or I don't know. He just seems like he became the life of the party after his conversion. I think he would be a lot like Mr. Fezziwig in the story, that he's just joyous and outgoing and the life of the party and is just celebrating everything. And he'd be a fun dinner guest. I would also like to have dinner with I think Mr. Pickwick would be great. Samuel Pickwick. He would be there. I would love to spend time with him, go out to dinner at a pub, hear a ghost story told like they do in the novel, and just sit back and drink a mug of, well, I don't drink alcohol, but maybe a non-alcoholic eggnog or something, and enjoy hearing some scary ghost stories. Yeah, I kind of got Christmas on the mind, I guess, but those who have read Pickwick Papers, you know that there's this Christmas story in there and a couple of Christmas chapters that are some of the best that Dickens has ever written. So if you haven't read Pickwick Papers yet, put that on your TBR and get it done. It's good. It's really good. And then I would want to also talk with one of his female characters. And so I would probably say Amy Dorrit. She's the main character in Little Dorrit. And I think that's such a remarkable story. And Amy Dorrit is such a strong female character. She's good, and and she does what's right, and she holds on to her true self throughout all the changes that she experiences with her family, whether in debtor's prison or what happens after they get out of debtor's prison. She is a good character, while the people all around her are. Don't want to give spoilers to it too much, but after they come into some money, it changes them. It reveals who they really are. But through that process, she remains true to herself. And it's a remarkable character and a beautiful story. And it's also features one of my favorite Dickens love stories. So yeah, those are the three I would pick. A very eclectic bunch, I think. We've got Scrooge, we've got Mr. Pickwick, and we've got Amy Dorrit. So I would love to know what you think, how you would answer that question. Let me know down below in the comments. That's one I would really be interested in hearing your opinion on. And then from Elizabeth, she asked, do I have any favorite books about Dickens or his work, like biography or literary criticism? And I would say both. So thanks for asking. I've got like 3 or 4 shelves full of biographies and literary criticism about Dickens. And I would say kind of one of each. One, the Michael Slater biography by Dickens. I've read 4 or 5 biographies of Dickens, and I think this one is far and away the best. It looks at both his life and analyzes his work. I think it handles some of the darker aspects of his life. He handles it respectfully and honestly. And though those parts are the hard ones to read, because I mean, Dickens is known as being this really great guy and very kind and compassionate towards those who are in in poverty and in destitution and all that. But on the other side of him, unfortunately, he was, he was downright awful to his wife. That's part of why I am drawn to Dickens, even both as a person and as a creator, is that he is complex. He is not perfect. There's a lot there to unpack, and maybe this isn't the purpose for it. And I don't want to sound like I'm excusing his behavior, because having read so much about him, you see the way that women were treated at that time, and it wasn't unusual for that to happen. And in fact, some have said that he actually treated her better than most men would have treated their wives at that time. Although, for me, that's getting dangerously close to just saying, well, boys will be boys, and laughing it off. So anyway, all that to say, I didn't mean to get down that rabbit trail, but Dickens is a complex character, and he fascinates me to no end, and I think he probably always will. So I like reading that about his life, just to explore that kind of fractured dichotomy, I guess, of who he was in public versus who he was in private. Another favorite I read is called God and Charles Dickens, and it's by Gary Colledge. That's a really fascinating example, study of what Dickens would have believed about God, about the Bible, things like that. It looks at his work and his life. And again, for somebody who had such a fascinating life, it was a really interesting read. And I'm kind of then led me to be interested in what the religious beliefs of some of the other Victorian writers. And I haven't read a whole lot about them yet. But Dickens and the theme of Dickens and religion really fascinates me. I've gotten to know a little bit about Elizabeth Gaskell's religious beliefs as I've been studying a bit about her and reading through her letters. It's a subject that I find very fascinating. As a Christian myself, I'm kind of drawn to that topic as well. But just to read what they thought about God and how did that come through in their writings and their works, or if it did or not, and what their view of God was, and how they expressed that in their daily life, is just really interesting. So, all right, well, that'll wrap up my 500 Q&A. I just want to give a big thank you for all who have subscribed and watched my videos. This has been just great for the last, it's taken me 2 years to get to this point. It was almost 2 years exactly. I do want to give a shout out to some booktubers that have meant a lot to me over these last 2 years, just both in your the videos you put out, along with that, just the interaction we've had, the support and encouragement you've given me these 2 years to keep going. So I know I will forget a couple, but I wanted to try to remember everyone I wanted to say thank you to. So thank you to Kate Howe for being, I think, one of the first people to hear about me doing that channel, and you were just excited for me from the get-go. And I had a chance to talk to her for my podcast. It was so much fun. And then Katie at Books and Things, she is one of the first booktubers I subscribed to. Her love of Dickens is what drew me to her channel. And in fact, hers was a channel that when I first heard about BookTube, hers was the first channel that the YouTube algorithm recommended for me. So, YouTube knows what I like, I guess. But like Kate Howe helped me introduce me to Elizabeth Gaskell and so many other Victorian writers. Katie helped, continue my love of Dickens and get just great Dickens content on her channel. Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, I've gotten to do some buddy reads with her. I also want to shout out Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes. We've done some Bradbury read-alongs together, and I'm looking forward to this month doing another one. So I'm excited about that. The channel, Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, she's just been a huge fan of mine and a source of encouragement. I'm grateful for all of her. She's tagged me in a couple tag videos, and anyway, really have enjoyed her channel and her online friendship and encouragement to keep things going here. And then Becky at Teacup the Storyteller, she and I had my first buddy read with her, and unfortunately the book we read wasn't very good, but we managed to get through it, and really enjoyed talking to her about it. And she's been a great channel and a big source of encouragement as well. And so many others. There's been people who have commented that don't have channels, And I'm so grateful for you guys to find people out there who maybe they don't want the YouTube channel, but they want the reading community. And that's what we're here for. So those of you who are leaving comments, thank you so much for that. If you have any more questions you'd like to have me answer, I can go ahead and start collecting some of those. Leave them in the comments below, and maybe I'll do another Q&A video down the road. I thought this was going to only take about 5 minutes, so it is what it is, I guess. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for reading along with me, and until next time, happy reading, everyone, and take care.